Oh my gosh, you guys, have you seen what D'Angelo just posted about Angie Stone? I am literally dying over here. This wasn't just some casual throwaway comment about an ex. This was a full-on emotional tribute that has me reaching for tissues. When D'Angelo wrote, "This one hit so hard," and loved watching her lives and that he's still in disbelief, I felt that in my soul. There is so much history between these two, and I am about to spill all the tea. Let me tell you, when two musical geniuses like D'Angelo and Angie Stone come together, it's not just a relationship, it's a cultural moment that shapes an entire genre of music. Their love story is literally woven into the fabric of neo-soul, and I'm going to break down every emotional detail for you. Picture this, the vibrant music scene of the 1990s. Neo-soul is this fresh, exciting sound that's blending smooth soul with elements of R&B, jazz, and funk. Right at the center of this musical revolution, Angie Stone and D'Angelo, two incredible talents whose chemistry was about to change everything. Angie was already making waves as this powerhouse vocalist who had been in the pioneering group The Sequence and had worked with artists like Lenny Kravitz. Her deep, soulful voice had this authenticity that just couldn't be taught. It was raw and real in a way that made you feel like she was singing directly to your heart. Then there's D'Angelo, this musical prodigy with velvet vocals and fingers that created magic on the piano keys. His 1995 debut album Brown Sugar had already positioned him as this exciting new voice in R&B, and people were absolutely obsessed with his smooth, sensual style. When these two crossed paths in the late 90s, it wasn't just sparks that flew, it was an entire fireworks show. You could practically feel the creative energy crackling between them. They weren't just attracted to each other physically, they were drawn to each other's artistic souls in a way that doesn't happen every day. D'Angelo was completely captivated by Angie's powerful voice and her ability to convey raw emotion in her music. And Angie? She was mesmerized by D'Angelo's creativity, his confidence, and that musical genius that seemed to pour out of him effortlessly. It was like they recognized something in each other that nobody else could fully understand, that special something that only exists between two artists who speak the same musical language. Their relationship quickly became more than just romantic. It was a true creative partnership that produced some of the most soul-stirring music of their careers. Can you imagine being a fly on the wall in those studio sessions? The passion, the creativity, the electricity between them as they created together. One of the most beautiful outcomes of their connection was their collaboration on Angie's 1999 album Black Diamond. That track, You Should Be Mine, that D'Angelo co-wrote, you can literally hear their chemistry in every note. It wasn't just a song, it was a musical conversation between two people deeply in love, speaking through melodies and harmonies in a way that words alone could never express. D'Angelo's influence on Angie's work was profound, bringing his unique musical sensibilities to her already incredible sound. And Angie's impact on D'Angelo? Transformative. He often praised her vocal techniques and that special realness she brought to everything she touched. She became his muse, his inspiration, his creative partner in every sense of the word. Their mutual admiration created this beautiful cycle of creativity, each inspiring the other to reach new artistic heights. When D'Angelo says he loved watching her lives, you better believe there's a deep story there. Imagine him sitting in the audience, watching Angie command the stage with that powerful presence that left crowds breathless. The pride, the admiration, the pure joy of watching someone you love shine in their element, that's what his tribute is referring to, and it just makes my heart melt. But here's the thing about being a power couple in the music industry. It comes with intense pressure that would test even the strongest relationships. As both their stars continued to rise, the demands of fame started to take a serious toll. The early 2000s marked a major turning point. D'Angelo's second album, Voodoo, dropped in 2000, and it wasn't just successful. It was a cultural phenomenon that cemented his place in music history. Critics were falling over themselves with praise. Fans were obsessed. And suddenly D'Angelo was thrust into this blinding spotlight that changed everything. Can you imagine trying to maintain a healthy relationship when the whole world is suddenly demanding pieces of you? The constant attention, the grueling tour schedules, the press obligations, the pressure to always be on. It was overwhelming. D'Angelo, who had always been this intensely private person, suddenly found himself being objectified and idolized in ways that made him deeply uncomfortable. Angie was dealing with her own career pressures too. As two successful artists in the same genre, there were inevitable moments when their professional lives clashed. When you're both ambitious and passionate about your art, finding that perfect balance between supporting each other and pursuing your individual dreams becomes this impossible tightrope walk. The emotional toll was devastating. The music industry can be absolutely brutal on relationships, and D'Angelo and Angie were experiencing that reality firsthand. The very success they had dreamed of and worked so hard for was now threatening to tear apart the beautiful connection they had built together. As the pressure mounted, cracks began to show in their relationship. D'Angelo was struggling with the expectations and objectification that came with his sex symbol status after the untitled "How Does It Feel" video. The way the industry and fans reduced him to his physical appearance rather than appreciating his musical genius was taking a serious psychological toll. For two artists who poured so much of themselves into their music, the line between personal and professional became increasingly blurred. Their individual artistic journeys were pulling them in different directions, creating tension where there had once been harmony. Imagine the heartbreak of watching your relationship slowly unravel, even as your careers are soaring. The bittersweet irony of achieving professional dreams while personal ones slip through your fingers. It's the kind of emotional contradiction that can tear you apart inside, and both D'Angelo and Angie were living through that pain in real time. Despite their deep love for each other, the relationship eventually reached its breaking point. The demands of their careers, the pressures of fame, and the challenges of balancing ambition with love proved too much to overcome. Their romantic relationship ended, leaving both artists to process their grief and heartbreak in the way they knew best, through their music. The emotional aftermath of their breakup didn't just disappear, it was channeled directly into their art, creating some of the most poignant, heart-wrenching music of their careers. The pain of their separation became the creative fuel for songs that would resonate with millions of listeners who had experienced similar heartbreak. D'Angelo's 2000 album Voodoo, often hailed as one of the most important works in neo-soul history, can be heard as a musical diary of his emotional journey during and after his relationship with Angie. Those themes of love, vulnerability, and heartbreak weren't just abstract concepts. They were his real-life experiences pouring out through his music. The raw emotion in tracks like Untitled, How Does It Feel, takes on even deeper meaning when you understand the personal context behind them. D'Angelo wasn't just performing, he was processing his feelings about love and loss in real time, creating art that was almost painfully authentic. Angie's response came in her 2001 album, Mahogany Soul, released shortly after their relationship ended. The record is filled with songs about healing, self-discovery, and finding strength after heartbreak. Tracks like Wish I Didn't Miss You hit differently when you realize they might be about processing the end of her relationship with D'Angelo. What makes their story so unique and beautiful is how they both transformed their personal pain into universal art. They took the most private, vulnerable parts of their hearts and turned them into songs that helped countless people process their own experiences with love and loss. That's not just talent. That's emotional alchemy of the highest order. As years passed, both artists continued on their individual journeys, but the impact they had on each other never faded. Their creative DNA was forever intertwined, even as they moved forward separately. D'Angelo went through a difficult period after Voodoo, stepping away from the spotlight as he struggled with the pressures of fame and his own personal demons. His absence from the music scene was deeply felt by fans, but when he finally returned in 2014 with Black Messiah, it was clear that his artistic vision and soul remained intact. The album was met with critical acclaim, with many seeing it as a triumphant return for the artist who had long been considered the face of neo-soul. Throughout his journey, Angie Stone's influence remained evident in his work, in his approach to songwriting, in certain vocal techniques, in the emotional honesty that defined his music. She had helped shape him as an artist in ways that couldn't be undone, even years after their romantic relationship had ended. Angie continued releasing music that addressed a variety of issues from social justice to self-love. Albums like Stone Love, 2004, and The Art of Love and War, 2007, showcased her evolution as an artist while maintaining that powerful voice and emotional authenticity that had first captured D'Angelo's heart years earlier. Her resilience in the face of personal and professional challenges stood as a testament to her strength as both an artist and a woman. Despite the end of their romance, a deep respect and admiration remained between them. In interviews, D'Angelo would speak of Angie with genuine warmth, acknowledging her influence on his music and his life. Angie, too, continued to express her admiration for D'Angelo, recognizing the special bond they had shared both personally and creatively. When D'Angelo wrote that emotional tribute saying the loss hit so hard and that he's still in disbelief, he wasn't just mourning a past relationship, he was honoring a connection that had fundamentally shaped who he was as both an artist and a person. His words carried layers of meaning that only someone who had experienced that kind of profound connection could truly understand. The tribute wasn't just about romantic love, it was about creative partnership, mutual respect, shared history, and the indelible mark they had left on each other's souls. The phrase, "loved watching her lives," speaks to something so beautiful about their relationship, how even after everything, he could still take joy in seeing her shine in her element. There's something incredibly pure about being able to appreciate someone's talent and celebrate their success, even when your own heart has been broken in the process. And, still in disbelief, those three simple words contain oceans of emotion. Disbelief at how quickly time passes, at how relationships that once seemed eternal can slip through our fingers, at how someone who was once the center of your world can become a memory, albeit an important one. There's a universal human experience in those words that resonates with anyone who has ever loved and lost. D'Angelo and Angie Stone's relationship wasn't just a personal story. It became part of the very foundation of neo-soul music. Their individual and collaborative contributions helped define the sound, feeling, and ethos of a genre that continues to influence artists today. Their love story reminds us of something so profound about human connection, that sometimes the relationships that don't last forever are still the ones that change us forever. The impact they had on each other's artistic development created ripples that extended far beyond their time together, influencing countless other musicians and touching the hearts of millions of fans around the world. When we listen to D'Angelo's smooth vocals or Angie's powerful performances today, we're experiencing not just incredible music, but the echo of a love story that helped shape an entire musical movement. Their personal connection became something larger than themselves. It became a creative force that produced art that will stand the test of time. The beauty of their story lies in its authenticity, the raw, real emotions that fueled both their love and their art. In an industry often criticized for its artifice, D'Angelo and Angie Stone represented something genuine and deeply human. They loved, they created, they struggled, they separated, but the respect and admiration never died. D'Angelo's tribute to Angie Stone serves as a reminder that some connections transcend conventional definitions of relationships. Even years later, the impact of their time together continues to resonate through their music and their memories. His simple but powerful words, "This one hit so hard, loved watching her lives, still in disbelief," speak to the lasting impression that true connection leaves on our hearts. In the end, their story isn't just about two talented musicians who fell in love. It's about how that love became immortalized in the art they created. It's about how personal relationships can spark creative revolutions. It's about how the pain of heartbreak can be transformed into beauty that touches millions. And most of all, it's about how the most meaningful connections in our lives never truly leave us, even when circumstances change and years pass. So when D'Angelo pays tribute to Angie Stone, he's not just acknowledging a former lover, he's honoring a muse, a creative partner, a fellow artist, and a permanent part of his story. Their love may have been fleeting in terms of years, but its impact will be eternal in the music that continues to move us, inspire us, and remind us of the beautiful complexity of human connection. And that, my friends, is the kind of legendary love story that transcends the typical celebrity romance. No wonder D'Angelo's tribute has everyone in their feelings. Some relationships simply change the course of musical history, and this was definitely one of them.